Ah, apprentice, thou returnest once more to the tower of numbers. Last we did battle with the shoebox monster, and lo, victory was thine. But beware, for another spirit lurks in the ledger, cloaked in mystery and excuses. Its name? Ask My Accountant.
Welcome back to the QuickBooks Wizard Podcast. I'm Brian Cogan, your resident bookkeeping guide, a guy who's been in the trenches for over 20 years helping entrepreneurs, contractors, shop owners, and service pros wrestle their finances into something that makes sense. If you listen to episode 2, you know we tackle the shoebox monster, that pile of crumpled receipts living in your truck, your purse, or shoved in the kitchen drawer. We laughed, we cringed, and hopefully you started snapping those receipts right into QuickBooks before they could fade into useless confetti. But here's the thing about monsters. They travel in packs. You can slay one only to find another lurking in the shadows. And today we're going to talk about one of the sneakiest, trickiest beasts in the bookkeeping forest. It hides in your QuickBooks file, and it's called Ask My Accountant. Now, if you've ever opened your QuickBooks and seen this mysterious account, you know what I'm talking about. It feels like a safe little drawer. It's a place to toss the expense you're not sure about. Gas station purchase? Throw it in there. Amazon charge? Can't remember? Toss it in there. Subscription you forgot you signed up for? Yep, straight into Ask My Accountant. At first, this feels like a relief. You're busy. You've got jobs to do, and the last thing you want to do is stop and categorize every transaction. So create this digital junk drawer and promise yourself, I'll deal with it later. But later never comes, and when tax season arrives, your bookkeeper opens up that account and sees not a handful of questions, but a massive list of hundreds of line items, and each one waiting for you to remember what you bought at Home Depot on a random Tuesday 10 months ago. Let me tell you about one client, a roofer I'll call Mike. Great guy, salt of the earth, incredible with a hammer. But when it came to bookkeeping, Mike had a habit. Every time he saw a charge from Home Depot, he just tossed it in to Ask My Accountant. No note, no photo of the receipt, nothing. At the end of the year, I sat down with him and pulled up the report. There were hundreds of transactions. One of them was for $147 at Home Depot in July. I asked, Mike, what was this for? He rubbed his head and said, I don't know, maybe shingles? Could have been gas for the grill. Could have been a birthday gift. I really don't remember. And here's the kicker. The IRS doesn't let you play the guessing game. If you can't show exactly what that purchase was or why it was necessary for your business, you don't get to claim it. Mike lost that deduction. Multiply that by dozens of similar entries and suddenly thousands of dollars of legitimate expenses vanished into thin air. So lesson 1 today. Ask My Accountant is not a shoebox. It's not a permanent parking lot. It's a temporary holding bay, like putting a sticky note on your desk to remind you to follow up. If you let that pile sit, it becomes chaos all over again. And here's where the human side comes in. Why do we do this? Why do we toss things aside and deal with later? Because in the moment, categorizing feels small. You're at the gas pump. You're rushing to the next job. You swipe the card and QuickBooks shows you a transaction. You think, I'll remember later. But let's be real, you won't. I've been doing this long enough to tell you that if you don't put context in the system when it's fresh in your head, you will forget. And when you forget, the story of that dollar is gone. Let me contrast 2 clients. I mentioned Mike the roofer. He lost deductions because he never circled back. But I also work with a graphic designer named Laura. She's in a million coffee shops, meeting clients, buying software online, picking up art supplies here and there. Every time she stamps the receipt into QuickBooks, she spends 30 seconds typing a note. Lunch with Sarah, potential client. Or Adobe subscription for client project. When tax season came, Laura's books told a perfect story. Every dollar had a name. Every expense had a why. The IRS didn't just accept her return, they practically gave her a gold star. That's what I want for you. Not the messy shoebox. Not the black hole of Ask My Accountant, but clarity. The kind of clarity that will let you sit down with your numbers and say, I know exactly where my money went. I'm in control. So let me ask you right now, if I open your QuickBooks file and pulled up your Ask My Accountant account, what would I see? A handful of tidy questions? or a beast of chaos ready to eat your time alive.
Kid, tagging's a drag. Just drop it my way and forget about it.
All right, folks, let's step deeper into the wizard's tower, where today's foe lurks in the shadows. You've already heard the warning. The shoebox monster may be gone, but the Ask My Accountant account is waiting in the wings, eager to swallow your hard-earned money. Now, here's the thing. When I sit down with small business owners, most of them aren't making mistakes because they don't care. They're making mistakes because they're busy. They've got payroll to run, clients to meet, emails to answer, maybe kids to pick up from school with, and 1,000 fires to put out before lunch. So what happens? That little line item pops up in QuickBooks, Chevron 6219. And instead of stopping to think, they sigh, click add to my accountant, and tell themselves they'll come back later. That's human nature, right? We all procrastinate on the small stuff. You figure it's just one charge, I'll remember. But here's the trap. Later doesn't come. Think about the last time you swore you'd remember something without writing it down. Maybe it was a password. Maybe it was a person's name. Maybe it was where you were parked at the airport. And then a week later, you couldn't recall it if your life depended on it. Our brains weren't built for bookkeeping. That's why we need systems. And here's where I've seen business owners get tripped up again and again. Ask My Accountant is not meant to be a permanent storage unit. It's not a warehouse. It's not a closet where you cram everything in and slam the door shut, hoping no one notices. It's supposed to be a little message board. Hey, I don't know what to do with this one. Can you help me? If you've ever been through an IRS audit, you know the words "I don't remember" are not deductible. They don't cut you a break because your memory is fuzzy. They don't care that you had 100 things on your mind that day. All they care about is proof, the story of the transaction, clearly written down. Now let me tell you about another client of mine. We'll call him Sam. Sam runs a small landscaping company, and unlike Mike from the last segment, he took the Ask My Accountant monster seriously from day one. When Sam wasn't sure where something went, he still used the AMA account. That's good. That's what it's for. But he had a rule. He never left a transaction in there without adding a note. If he bought gas for his truck, he'd write gas for mower transport. If he bought gloves and a ladder at Home Depot, he'd snap a picture of the receipt and write gloves, tools, ladder, equipment. Now here's the magic. Every Friday afternoon, Sam would sit down with a cup of coffee, pull up the Ask My Accountant account, and review the week's transactions. It took him maybe 10 minutes. He'd drag the expenses to the right categories, and the ones he truly couldn't figure out, he tagged me on. I'd follow up, ask the right questions, and we'd get them sorted out. Come tax season, his AMA account had maybe 2 or 3 things left in it. We had clear notes attached. We were able to competently deduct everything that qualified. That meant thousands of dollars of legitimate business expenses stayed on his books, and hundreds more stayed in his pocket. Here's what I want you to take away. Procrastination feels harmless in the moment, but in bookkeeping, it compounds. Every time you kick a transaction down the road, you're feeding that digital junk drawer monster. And when it's time to reconcile, you're looking at an overwhelming wall of mystery. Now here's the flip side. Every time you take 30 seconds to tag a transaction, you're not just organizing data, you're telling the story of your business in real time. You're leaving a breadcrumb trail for yourself, for your future self, for your accountant, and if needed, for the IRS. And that story matters. The IRS doesn't want your shoebox. They want clarity. They want to know that your $62 at Chevron wasn't a personal take of gas for a weekend getaway. It was fuel to get to the job site. And if you can show them a receipt with a note that says gas for truck client project, then that deduction holds. Here's a simple action step for you. Make it a weekly ritual to check your Ask My Accountant account. Friday afternoon, set a reminder. Open the report. Look at what's sitting there. If you can categorize it, do it. If you can't, add a note and flag your bookkeeper. QuickBooks Online has internal means to communicate these types of things. It's like doing laundry. If you throw your socks in the basket every night, laundry day is manageable. If you leave socks all over the house for 6 months, you're going to be digging through piles. Mismatched socks everywhere, and you're showing up to the IRS in flip-flops. Don't make future you pay for present you's procrastination. Take the small step today so the big step later isn't a leap.
Notes, notes, notes. Who's got time to type all that? Just drop it in here, kid. I'll remember it for you. Maybe.
You know, here's the funny thing about Ask My Accountant. It's not really an accounting tool at all. It's a communication tool. That's why QuickBooks built it in. But here's what happens. Instead of using it to open a conversation, too many people use it to close the door. It becomes the place where you hide the questions you don't want to deal with, the charges you don't want to explain, the mistakes you hope no one notices. I've seen this play out with dozens of business owners. They would tell me, Brian, I don't want to bother you with every little thing. Or worse, I should already know this, so I didn't ask. Let me stop you right there. If you don't know, you don't know. That's not failure. That's why you have a bookkeeper. That's why you have me. Pretending you don't know doesn't help anyone. Putting it off doesn't magically make it clearer, and silence isn't golden. Silence costs you money. Think about it this way. If your mechanic tells you something is wrong with your car, you don't nod and say, oh, sure, I knew that. You ask questions. You want to know what broke, what it costs, how long it takes to fix. And if you don't understand, you speak up. Why should bookkeeping be different? Let me give you two quick stories. First, I worked with a boutique owner. We'll call her Rachel. Rachel was fantastic at design, displays, and connecting with her customers. But every time a weird charge came up, she tossed it in to Ask My Accountant with no note. Why? Because she felt embarrassed. She thought she should already know. When I sat down with her at year end, her AMA account was overflowing. I asked Rachel, what's this $280 charge at Office Depot? And she looked down at the table. Honestly, Brian, I have no idea. I didn't want to look dumb by asking. You know how much that embarrassment cost her? Thousands of dollars in deductions she couldn't prove. Now let's contrast that with another client, David. David runs a plumbing business, and here's what I love about him. He's not afraid to admit what he doesn't know. When something looks odd, he tosses it and asks my accountant, but he always leaves a note. Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, Brian, is this business or personal? Or fuel for truck number 2. Should this be travel or equipment expense? He never worries about whether it's a dumb question. He just writes it down and moves on. And here's the result. When tax season rolls around, we've already had the conversation. Every weird little charge already has context. He gets to keep his deductions. He gets peace of mind. He doesn't waste time feeling ashamed of asking. That's the real purpose of Ask My Accountant. It's not a black hole. It's a message board. It's a sticky note to your bookkeeper. It's your way of saying, hey, I need help on this one. And here's the kicker. When you use AMA this way, it doesn't just save you money at tax time. It makes you a better business owner. Because instead of ignoring the questions, you're learning. Each time you ask, you build your own understanding. Next time that same kind of charge shows up, you don't need to ask, you know. So here's the challenge. Stop treating Ask My Accountant like a junk drawer. Start treating it like a conversation starter. Here are 3 steps to do it right. Step 1, never drop without a note. If you're unsure, fine, put it in AMA, but always add context. Write a line, lunch with client, gas for delivery van, personal purchase, remove. That one line can save hours later. Ask questions early. Don't wait until tax season. If you see something you don't understand, tag it in AMA and send a message right away. Your accountant would rather answer a small question now than a giant mystery later. And step 3, review monthly. Don't let AMA sit there and grow moss. Once a month, run a quick report. See what's still sitting in there. Clear out what you can, ask what you can't, and keep that drawer tidy. Remember, bookkeeping is like fitness. A little work every week beats a giant panic in December. And look, I get it. It's uncomfortable to admit you don't know something, but you're not supposed to know everything. You're supposed to run your business. That's your superpower. My job is to help you translate that into numbers that make sense. So don't let embarrassment feed the monster. Use Ask My Accountant for what it was designed for. Communication. Simple, honest, real.
Kid, skip the notes and questions. Just toss it all on me.
Okay, so we've talked about what Ask My Accountant isn't. It's not a shoebox, not a junk drawer, not a black hole. And we've talked about what it is, a communication tool, a bridge between you and your bookkeeper. Now let's talk about how you build a system that keeps it working for you instead of against you. Because here's the truth. Good bookkeeping doesn't happen by accident. It happens because you built routines into your business the same way you build habits into your life. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't wake up and say, do I feel like brushing today? No, it's automatic. Twice a day, every day, you brush. And because you brush, you don't sit in the dentist chair dreading a lecture or a big bill. You get a smile and a quick polish and you're on your way. Bookkeeping works the same way. If you treat it like a random chore, it piles up and becomes a monster. If you treat it like a routine, it shrinks down to size. So here's the system I teach my clients. Step 1, capture immediately. When you make a purchase, snap the receipt right away. Don't put it off. QuickBooks has the tool in the app. Use it. The receipt gets attached to the transaction in real time, and you never have to dig through your glove box again. Step 2, categorize what you know. If it's obvious, supplies, meals, subscriptions, travel, put it where it belongs right then. Don't overthink it. Don't wait for perfection. Put it where it fits, and QuickBooks will start remembering your patterns. Step 3, use My Accountant sparingly. If you don't know, fine, put it in AMA, but always leave breadcrumbs. Write a note, snap the receipt, give your future self or me something to work with. Step 4, review weekly. This is the magic step. Once a week, same day, same time, run a quick report on Ask My Accountant. It'll take you 10, maybe 15 minutes. Clear out what you can, tag what you can't, and send a quick message to your bookkeeper. That's it. Capture, categorize, AMA with notes, review weekly. 4 steps. Now let me show you what happens when you follow this. I had a client, a cafe owner named Jordan. Jordan made a lot of small purchases. Groceries, coffee beans, napkins, paper cups, little things that piled up fast. For years, his system was, well, no system. He'd hand his CPA a folder stuffed with faded receipts and hope for the best. Then one year, after a particularly painful tax bill, he decided to change. He started snapping receipts into QuickBooks every time he made a run. Every Friday, he'd spend 10 minutes at the back table of his cafe categorizing and reviewing. His Ask My Accountant account never had more than 5 or 6 items in it. When tax season came, his CPA was floored. No shoebox, no junk drawer. Every deduction backed up, every transaction matched, every category clean. Jordan paid what he owed, and not a penny more. Now let's compare that to someone who didn't build a system. Another client of mine, a contractor, did the opposite. He waited until March to deal with a year's worth of receipts and transactions. He was up until 2 a.m. every night for a week, trying to remember what each purchase was for. He burned himself out, lost deductions, and still ended up writing a bigger check than he expected. The difference wasn't intelligence. The difference wasn't even effort. The difference was system. And here's the kicker. The system doesn't just protect you at tax time. It gives you peace of mind all year. When you know your receipts are captured, your categories are right, and your Ask My Accountant is clean, you can focus on running your business. You can stop carrying the guilt of that pile. You stop dreading the IRS. You stop second-guessing yourself. And that peace of mind, that's worth as much as the deductions. So here's my challenge to you. Pick your day, Friday morning, Sunday afternoon, Monday before lunch. lunch, whatever works for you. Block 10 minutes on your calendar. Make it as non-negotiable as brushing your teeth. Because if you build the habit now, you'll never face the monster again.
Kid, 10 minutes a week keeps me from turning ugly. Skip it and I'll grow fangs. Your choice.
Here's the bottom line. When you use Ask My Accountant the right way, you're not just cleaning up transactions. You're building confidence. You're telling a clear story about your business, one you can stand behind anytime, anywhere. And trust me, future you will thank present you for the clarity you create today.
Why waste time labeling? Hand it over. I'll hold it for you.
Well done, apprentice. Where chaos once whispered, order now stands tall. You've turned the drawer of doubt into a tool of wisdom, and by steady habit, you've mastered delay. Keep the rhythm, guard your time, and no monster will dare rise against you. Let your courage endure, let your coffers prosper, and may your books always be balanced.
This has been episode 3 of the QuickBooks Wizard Podcast. Next week, we'll unmask another trickster that hides in plain sight, one that could be costing you more than you realize. You won't want to miss it. In the meantime, you can catch past episodes and grab resources to bring clarity to your bookkeeping at www.automatedbookkeepingaz.com/clarity. I'm Brian Cogan. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.